Well, it's no big surprise that President Joe Biden supports a strict gun control agenda. He's been talking about it for years. And on the third anniversary of the Parkland High School shooting yesterday, the president urged Congress to crack down, saying, quote, "I am calling on Congress to enact common sense gun law reforms, including requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets." Just last week, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also said the president is eager to take on the NRA. Watch.
The president addressing gun violence in the country and putting in place additional safety measures is something that the president has a personal commitment to. He's obviously taken on the NRA twice and won, and he is happy and eager to do that in the future.
All this as Second Amendment lovers say they're very concerned by how far President Biden could go, and they're buying up firearms and ammunition all across America. My next guest says more gun control actually increases the conditions that lead to massacres such as Parkland. Joining me tonight, Libertarian Party Vice Presidential Candidate 2020, Spike Cohen, is back. Welcome back, Spike.
Thank you for having me back on. Happy President's Day.
And to you as well. Thank you very much. And as your president, I will say this. I would celebrate the Second Amendment in all its forms. And all of these things, Sheila Jackson Lee has put forth some legislation that is the most prohibitive gun control we have seen in this country. People are buying lots and lots of guns right now. Obviously, they're worried about the pandemic. They're worried about civil unrest. But now they're worried about a president who wants to shred the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty safe bet whenever a gun-grabbing president gets into office to buy stock in gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers and so forth. I mean, on the third anniversary of the Parkland shooting, a shooting where the reason that this mass shooting was able to happen was because the murderer knew, the mass shooter knew that he was going to be the only person there with a gun, and in which the police refused to engage the shooter until after all the shooting was done. Joe Biden is proposing a series of policies that would disarm that many more Americans, make them even more at the mercy of murderers, and hopeful that the police will show up and protect them in time. And, you know, the old trope of when seconds count, the police are minutes away rings true here. These types of proposals only make things worse.
There was a police officer there. But the defund the police movement, they want to take all of those officers out of schools. When I heard that plank of the platform, it made me think of Parkland automatically, because you want to
here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. Even though that officer was there, he didn't really feel terribly inclined to run into gunfire. So he stayed back and called for reinforcements. And that's what happens. You are always going to be able to defend yourself better than a third party will. When gun control is the belief that guns are so bad that we should only give them to people who either don't care what the laws are or are a third party that are uninvolved until you call them, that you yourself shouldn't be able to defend yourself against someone with a gun who wants to kill you. And it makes sense then that the places that have the most gun control are also the places that have the highest murder rates, including with guns.
Absolutely. I mean, but that's what happens. And Sheila Jackson Lee is talking about a national database that where every gun has to be registered, making it a felony to own a firearm or ammunition without a license. And you have to complete a government training course. This is just a few items on her laundry list. And my question for the Congresswoman is, what do you do about the guns that are already out there? What do you do about the people who aren't very interested in completing a training course, who already have a nice cache of weapons that they either stole or obtained nefariously?
Or obtained legally and have no intention of giving up. We also need to look at the fact that they keep trying to blame this on, they keep trying to scapegoat people with mental health issues and say, well, we shouldn't let people with mental health issues get weapons. Here's how that plays out, Kennedy. If you're the victim of abuse, or you're a veteran with PTSD, or you're just someone battling depression, you now are less likely to go and get the treatment that you need because you know it could affect your ability to legally own a firearm to protect yourself. So now you still have the gun, but you're not getting the mental health treatment you need. These are the kind of big brain genius ideas that come from gun grabbers every day.
And the stigmatizing of mental illness is something that it's incredibly reprehensible here, because how do busybodies in Washington define mental illness? Is it someone who has been depressed for a few months because of the pandemic? Is it someone who suffers from anxiety? Doesn't that include most of the country if the umbrella
Most people right
is
now.
broad enough? Yes.
Here's who it
insane.
also includes. It also includes, in the way that it was worded, HB 127, Sheila Jackson Lee's bill, includes people with brain diseases. I have multiple sclerosis. Does that mean I can't own a weapon? We don't know.
I think you should be able to own lovely weapons. And
Well, I used to have weapons, but I sadly lost all of them in a tragic boating accident. But
you're going to need a bigger boat, Spike. I think that's what it all boils down to. All right, Spike, come back early and often. Thank you, my friend.